What's up YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about how we made this parallax effect in Webflow using just a little bit of GSAP code. As you can see, the guys in the foreground are moving up and the mountains are moving down, the sun is moving down and the clouds are moving up, just not as much as the foreground, and that creates this lovely sense of depth. It's very subtle, probably can't see it very well on the screen share, but I'll leave a link to the clonable and the demo slide below so you can see. And then down here we have some quick and easy setup notes to follow as you are stealing this clonable and making it your own. So let's jump into Webflow and see how it's built. Right, inside Webflow, the most important thing we've got going on here is the HTML and CSS. So we have a section hero, so it needs a class name, and this is what we're going to use to target our scroll trigger. So we're going to say, whilst section hero is scrolling, play an animation. So it's very important that this has a class or at least an ID, and this is set to position relative, and that is so I can add all of my hero images in, give them a position of absolute, pin them to the bottom. Each hero image has a combo class on it, and that is only so I can change the Z index so I can make sure the correct layers are on the top. And very importantly, if we have a quick look inside Figma, we have our illustration here, which is just one frame. But what we've done is we've split it out into its 4 layers, but we've kept each layer exactly the same size. So you might think you want this sun to be like this, but then inside your HTML and CSS, that's going to be a right pain for you to position that exactly where you want it. So if you keep all of the frames of your illustration the exact same size, you can give them all one class and you can set them however you want. So in this case, they are just 100%. That's all we're saying. Just fill the size, be positioned absolute at the bottom, and then they all just stack on top of each other and everything is in the right place. So let's have a look inside where the magic happens in the code. So if I look in the page settings, I'll zoom in now. So we have 2 scripts in the head tag, and these are basically just registering the GSAP code. So we've got the first one just pulls in the GSAP library, and the second one pulls in the scroll trigger library, and that's just to allow us to control the animation to where you are scrolling. And then in the body tag is where we've got all of the actual animation. So you can ignore this first bit. Obviously you need to put it inside 2 script tags, but we have 2 main sections. We've got the desktop animation here, and then we have the tablet animation here. And the reason we do this is because these values here are saying how far we're moving each of these elements. So when we have a look on mobile, these elements are maybe, the mountains in the background are only a couple of 100 pixels tall. If we move them 150 pixels up, all of the elements of the illustration are going to be so far apart that you're going to see gaps and it will feel really unnatural. So we have to have a separate animation so that that doesn't happen. And all we do in the second one is just we're tweaking the numbers. So instead of this layer moving 100 pixels, it's now moving 25 pixels. So we can basically adjust for the width of the screen. So if we have a look here, this min width here is just saying basically anything above tablet size, and then we get that number from here, so 991. Run this animation, and anything below that size, run this animation. And you can of course copy and paste these sections and add extra breakpoints if you need more granular control. And let's talk through the code now. So first section here is saying we're basically going to create a timeline. That's it. The trigger of the timeline is the class of section underscore hero, which we've already talked about. We're going to start the animation when the top of this section is at 0% of the screen height. So when the top of that section is touching the top of the screen, that's when we're starting. And we're going to end it when the bottom of that section hits 75% from the bottom of the screen. These will be set to false as you start. This just means show or hide the markers. So we're going to turn them on for now so we can see what they're doing. Toggle actions, leave as they are. This is how you want these set up, and we'll talk about this stuff in another video. Scrub is essentially the amount of smoothing, like in the Webflow interactions. You've got a smoothing slider. That's essentially what scrub is. And then we are basically saying what elements we have and what we're doing with them. So we're targeting them using an ID rather than a class name. You could use a class name if you wanted, just put a full stop there, that's fine, but we're going to target with an ID. So if we have a look here, our hero images all have their own ID set. That is basically because we want to keep them all the same class name, like we said before, because we want them all to just be the same, keep our code nice and light. So the easiest way to target them is to just use an ID instead of a class name. And we are essentially saying this is a GSAP from animation. So it will animate from this point to whatever its original position is within the design. So we're saying animate this from minus 50 pixels. So the sun is going to start 50 pixels higher than it currently is. And as the animation happens, the sun is going to move down 50 pixels. Same with the clouds. They're going to start a little bit higher and move down a bit more. The mountains are going to do the same as the sun. And then the foreground is actually going to move up. So 3 background layers are moving down, foreground layer is moving up. Most commonly, parallax stuff is usually everything is moving up, just at different rates. But that then creates a bigger problem on mobile. It can sometimes not be as subtle as you want. So instead of having everything moving up at different rates, you can just have some things moving down a little bit, some things moving up a little bit, and it creates a similar effect. So you can just play around with these numbers as much as you like and see what happens. Just tweak the numbers, publish the file, and get going. And then essentially below here, we've just copy and pasted this code. And all we're doing is we're tweaking the start and end position. So rather than ending when the section is 75% from the bottom of the screen, so if we have a look here, that would be maybe around here where my cursor is. And so that means the animation would already have ended before we've even started. So we're saying end when it's 15% of from the top of the screen. Hopefully that makes sense. Quite difficult to explain. But don't worry, I'm going to show you a brilliant course where I learned how to do all of this stuff. And what else are we doing? We're turning the markers off for mobile. We don't want to see those. And we have the exact same animation, and all we're doing is tweaking the numbers. So the clouds, for example, were moving 100 pixels. They're now moving 25. So that's all we've done. We're just changing the numbers and changing when the animation runs. So now we've got markers on desktop. We'll publish this site and we will have a look so you can understand the markers. A really, really great tool to turn on and off and see what's happening. So here we go. We've got scroller start and the start position. That's 2 markers, but they're on top of one another at the moment, and scroller end. So when the bottom of the hero section passes scroller end, that's when the animation is going to finish. And you can see that is marked here. This is the bottom of the section, and as it scrolls past scroller end, the animation stops playing, and here the animation is playing. That's all that does, and you can move these 2 markers, top and bottom, start and finish, wherever you like. And that's essentially it. So you just need to grab the cloning ball so that you can grab this code, and then you just create as many layers as you want in your animation. They don't need commas after, so have a look, pay attention to where the commas are. So this is the only bit you need to tweak, and your start and end positions really, and the name of your trigger section. That's about it. And if you wanted to, you can target this with an ID if you want instead. So maybe you've got multiple section heroes and GSAP's going to get a bit confused. So if you want, you can just give one section an ID like this, and that solves that problem. So let's jump into talking about Creative Coding Club. So this is where you want to be if you want to learn how GSAP works. So Carl from Creative Coding Club has put together some fantastic tutorials. We currently have the Pro Lifetime subscription, which means it's just a one-off payment at $75 that gets you access to everything. It's an absolutely fantastic resource, and he's just started releasing GSAP challenges, which are really fun to kind of try and recreate what he's built. He's really active on email, so we kind of send him homework and he gives us feedback and stuff like this. Just a fantastic resource. Definitely check it out. Buy it. This is how we learn. We're still learning, just kind of passing some stuff on to you as we go. And all of this stuff on this website is obviously animated with GSAP. So yeah, have fun. Let us know in the comments how you found this tutorial, and post a link to whatever you build down there. I'd love to check it out. See you in the next video.